This video is now in session, and Germany's federal elections is underway, but the top contenders for the chancellor, these six parties, none of them are actually properly responding to the German flooding. So, about a week and a half ago, Germany was ravaged by floods, and floods are still happening in Germany. More than 100 people still missing, and there are anxieties about more floods. More floods could be on the way for the Rhineland, which is the western area half of Germany. So with that, this would have been a good time. This would be a good time for a politician or a German candidate to rally the nation, because Germany hasn't really experienced this kind of flooding for pretty much in modern history. And with that, the fact that there hasn't been a flood in forever, and people have never experienced floodings of this level, means that Germany as a whole is pretty anxious. They're pretty shocked. And with those kinds of events, it's those are the kinds of events that define politicians. The events where people experience shock or disbelief or grief at something that they didn't think could have happened. For example, 9/11. 9/11 was an event that a lot of Americans did not think would happen. America was shielded from attacks domestically since Pearl Harbor, yet 9/11 happened and everyone was shocked. So with that, George W. Bush, Bush 43, was able to rally the nation, and he was able to calm the nation down, which allowed his popularity ratings to skyrocket from 51.8% all the way to 88.4%. That's a very high jump, and for any president, 88.4% is incredibly large. If you look at all of these other presidents here, only Harry Truman was able to get to that level, and that was at the very start of his presidency. If you look at every other presidency here, even including Ronald Reagan, who was very popular with a lot of Americans, you can really only see George W. Bush was the only person who was able to get that high of a level during his presidency. So with that, it shows how special events can excel politicians. Yeah, Germany right now, no politician, not even Angela Merkel, is taking charge with the German flooding. And you'd think this would be a very good thing, a very good thing for a politician to be talking about, trying to comfort the nation, especially with an election that's going to happen in just 2 months. That said, it seems like no one's taken charge, which is a very big surprise in Germany. As an American, it's a pretty big surprise, because whenever you see any kind of disaster, usually a politician will try to capitalize on it, and for good reason. It's because it gets their approval ratings a lot higher, even for the Green Party, which emphasizes environmentalism. Annalena Baerbock has not taken charge at all with communication to the whole of Germany, which she needs to do if she wants to be the next chancellor of Germany. You can see here that according to the polls, the Green Party has been slumping recently, while the CDU has been growing. So with that, this is a great opportunity for Baerbock. It's a great opportunity for Armin Laschet. It's even a great opportunity for the AfD if they wanted to take charge, because they need to establish themselves as a credible party, and they need to establish themselves as a party that voters can actually choose and feel comfortable about. So if they would politicize, or if they would use the floodings to their advantage, they would try to take charge with it. Even though they're not the leaders, they can act like leaders and rally the nation behind them. Yet the AfD is not doing that, the Green Party is not doing that, and the CDU is not doing that, which is a very big missed opportunity for all of these candidates. And it's not necessarily a bad thing that it's not necessarily bad if a politician capitalizes on a disaster. A lot of times, a nation during a disaster needs some kind of direction, and politicians can usually bring that direction and restore the faith in the nation. So with that, it would be a win-win for both Germans and whoever wants to capitalize it for their political elections. But that's not happening, which is again very surprising. Nonetheless, though, Armin Laschet seems like because of this, honestly, he could just keep up with the status quo and he'd be able to win the election. Because Annalena Baerbock and the Green Party are committing political suicide after political suicide. Meanwhile, none of the other parties seem like they are good enough or reputable enough in order to have a chance of winning the majority in Germany. Only Annalena Baerbock seems like the only opportunity that Germany can actually get a chancellor of a different party. Otherwise, Armin Laschet can just do nothing and he'd probably still win because of Annalena Baerbock's ineptitude and incompetence with campaigning. So with that, there are still opportunities for candidates to show themselves as a leader. There are debates happening soon after one happened in June, and then there's going to be another one in August, and then another one in September, or I guess 3 more in September, and the final debate is 3 days before the general election. So with that, a lot of these candidates still have an opportunity to at least gain a lot of seats and take away some of the CDU majority that was lost through 2017, where the CDU lost a lot of seats because of smaller parties like the AfD and the FDP. So that could continue in 2021, and we could see a situation where the CDU gets even further into being a plurality party rather than a majority party, and thus they would have to listen to the other parties. They would have to form a coalition with more than one other party, not only a grand coalition with the CDU and the SPD, but also having to include possibly the Greens and the FDP. So we'll see how that goes, but currently speaking, this is a very big missed opportunity for all candidates if they wanted to propel themselves into the front pages of Germany's elections. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. This video is now adjourned, and I'll see you in the next one.